Yo, this is Soul Drum 86 bringing you another video. So I've been playing a lot of No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000, more so WrestleMania 2000. I've been playing a lot of that. And I know, look, No Mercy is amazing. Probably my second favorite wrestling game of all time. But my first favorite wrestling game of all time is WrestleMania 2000. Now I know that No Mercy is technically the better game. It's bigger. The championship mode is better. More arenas, more wrestlers. But WrestleMania 2000 was a very special game for me back then. I remember when I got it for Christmas, and I just couldn't put that game down. I played so much of WrestleMania 2000, the creative pay-per-view mode that I still wish games would do today. And I get that there's like 2K has universe mode, but that's like different. You know what I mean? Because you have to you build up stories throughout the week. Like, yes, you can create like a show and sim to the show and then do it that way if you want. But I really enjoy the idea of just like already pre-creating my shows. Gives me an opportunity as well not to continue to have to go back to the main menu, which, look, as a kid, you don't know how many Monday Night Raws I created in WrestleMania 2000. I did all the pay-per-views. Sometimes I would do it like alongside what was going on in real life at the time. Also the show intros after you create a pay-per-view or a show was better in WrestleMania 2000. So not only did WrestleMania 2000 give you the full entrances of the wrestlers, but they also had better show intros. Like whenever you created like a Monday Night Raw, the fireworks represented how the fireworks went off when you actually went to a Monday Night Raw back in the Attitude Era, and it played the Raw like music. It was just amazing, and they did like different pyro for like the pay-per-views. I believe in No Mercy, like when I created one recently, all it showed was like the arena, and it played like the Raw's war music and stuff like that, but I don't think there was any like pyro. There was nothing really special about the created pay-per-view. So there's just things that like little nuances that are in WrestleMania 2000 where I gravitate to that game more, because I know everybody is like No Mercy, No Mercy, No Mercy, and No Mercy is amazing. I'm not even trying to say No Mercy is bad in any kind of way, but WrestleMania 2000 for me, it was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like it was that game. And I know on this channel I talked about the SmackDown series a lot, and partly because at the time when I was doing all of that, I only had my PlayStation 2 wrestling games and my PlayStation 3 wrestling games. I just recently got a Nintendo 64, and I've just been going down memory lane. The WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy still hold up to this day. They are still fantastic wrestling games. Now, you're probably wondering, why the hell am I looking at AEW Fight Forever? It's because I've also been playing this. Because look, man, I've had my complaints about AEW Fight Forever. I've made videos about it, but I've always been consistent on the fact that I have fun with the game. It underdelivered in terms of like what I'm even used to from like back in the day, right? That's why I mentioned and started out this video talking about WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. It missed the mark on being those games. Now, not saying that it needed to be those games. And again, as I've also mentioned on this channel, I do believe that the way AEW Fight Forever came out was the way that they intended for it to come out. I do think things were rushed, and I think they didn't have time to implement like the ability to have like multiple different match types that are in Road to Elite, oddly enough. And I think the creation suite was supposed to be a lot better, and editing the wrestler should have been a lot better, but it just missed the mark for me. You know what I mean? I already knew not to compare it to WWE 2K, because even Kenny Omega said this is not competing with WWE 2K. And I think a lot of people kind of like they did that, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, it's rival companies, and then they both have a video game, so that's the natural thing to do. But I don't think we were ever supposed to really compare these games. One was supposed to be its own thing, while the other is its own thing, right? A juggernaut, because it's the only, for a long time it was the only wrestling game. But if I'm being honest, man, I have the most fun when I am playing AEW over WWE 2K. Even now, when I play a 2K, even older ones that I thought were okay, like 2K18 and 19 and stuff like that, and even WWE 2K16, when I play those games, I realize how much I don't really like 2K. A part of it too, and I've talked about this, is the controls. Like when I go back and play WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, like those games were very much simulation games for its time. I know that there was a weird argument being made when AEW was coming out. Almost every YouTuber, everybody that you can think of, kept saying, "Oh, AEW was going to be like No Mercy, more arcade-like." There's nothing arcade like about No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000. Those are very much simulation wrestling games. The only one that I could understand people saying arcade is like the SmackDown series, like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. Those have more arcade gameplay. It's really fast paced. Everything is kind of chaotic, but in a good way. And, the way that, the ragdoll physics that they kind of had like back then, like the SmackDown series was more arcade. It didn't start getting more sim until like SmackDown versus Raw, the very first one. But all the other games beforehand, those are way more what I consider arcade like. And even then, those games weren't your typical arcade game like, WrestleMania arcade game back in the 90s, or WrestleMania or WWE All-Stars. It wasn't on that level, but I would consider the SmackDown series more of an arcade game than the No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. I kept putting that in people's comment section every time I heard that in their videos too. I was like, yo, No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 were not arcade wrestling games. They were very like that. WCW versus NWO, World Tour, Revenge. Those were not arcade games. Those were very much sim games. But the thing is that they were fun, and they were the controls were intuitive. They were simple. Like I'm doing moves, and even in AEW Fight Forever, I'm doing moves and pulling off certain things, and it doesn't take much to do them. It's not as like convoluted and complex. The controls are very simplistic. If I want to do certain off the rope moves that are signature to certain wrestlers, like the 5 knuckle shuffle, if that was in, like, if John Cena was in WrestleMania 2000 or No Mercy, and say if he was wrestling back then, pulling off that move would be more simple. It would just be hold one button or press one button. Stone Cold's elbow drop, where he's like giving the middle fingers before he drops the elbow in WrestleMania 2000 and in No Mercy. It's very easy to pull these moves off. And I think that's that was like the charm about these games, was that they were pick up and play, but at the same time they were pick up and play. They were sim. And to me, I think 2K's controls got, and again, I'm used to 2K, so yes, I was good at the game and I could play the game, but I can even admit that sometimes they went a little overboard when they took away the single button signature and single button finisher. Like, why? Why? And sometimes, I don't know about you guys, sometimes it's hard to register. And my controller isn't bad. I recently got a newer controller than the one that came with my PS5. And even like when I'm trying to do a finisher or a signature in WWE 2K, it's hard to register sometimes. Like it's very annoying, very annoying. So it's just things like that. And I'm just like, yo, I'm playing AEW Fight Forever, and I'm like, this game is such a gem, and I get it. Look, I understand that it definitely missed the mark. I'm not trying to say that it didn't. I'm not trying to play that game here, but it was a really, really good game, man. A really good game. Let's see, Adam Cole. I think for me, what could have made AEW Fight Forever a better game was definitely continue with the updates, add more wrestlers. If look, if they would have had a community creations. And if the creation suite would have been better, because then you would have been able to create like old school wrestlers or download these wrestlers from other creations. I think they should have done that. I think it should have been like, cross-platform community creation, so you could even get stuff like that PC players make. Let's see, get stuff that PC players make, all of that. So having a better creation suite would have done this game wonders. Having a community creations, I think, would have been nice. And if you're not gonna have a community creations, at least have a pretty decent creation suite, because it's anything but. Even for like create an arena okay, the commentators is interrupting me, but shoot, hold on. Alrighty. Oh, I didn't know that streamer mode thing like popped up. This is my first time like seeing that. But anyways, oh, whoa. But yeah, man, I think that like definitely have a better creation suite, man. Like this game needed that. Arenas, like the assets, you didn't have enough assets for create arena. Like you couldn't even, if you wanted to try to create, I mean, like, yes, I even attempted to create the collision arena, but like it's like, man, why couldn't we get those assets to create the collision arena? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't we do that at all? It was very, it's very disappointing, man. So a better creation suite, maybe community creations would have also done the trick. Editing the wrestlers, right? So when you edit the wrestlers in this game, and you know what? Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me get out of here. Because I do want to go over that real quick. Let me pause the game real quick. Editing the wrestlers was pretty awful. I remember when they talked about it, I think it was at an E3. It was when they first started talking about AEW Fight Forever. I think it was when they started talking about AEW Fight Forever there, and they were asked, one of the developers was asked, can you edit the wrestlers? And he said yes. So I got excited because I'm thinking like, okay, if anybody is outdated, you could pretty much get them updated like into the game, right? Oh, wait, what am I doing? You could pretty much get them updated into the game. Like it'd be like, cool. I'm like, all right. It was like Adam Cole. If you look at Adam Cole right now, he's got his black and white, but Adam Cole has worn like yellow and white and all of that. So I'm thinking like, okay, if he's wearing something that I see like on Dynamite, I can like literally, change the black to yellow, or change it to pink, like he's worn, or change it to blue, like when he teamed up with his ex-girlfriend at the time, Britt Baker. But you couldn't do that. When you change their color, it was preset stuff, and it changed their elbow pads, it changed their wrist pads, their trunks, their boots, their knee pads. I was like, what in the hell? It just didn't work. It didn't work at all. So it was not the type of editing wrestler that I think a lot of people were wanting, because again, even in WrestleMania 2000, the way that you edit your superstar, it was very different. It worked very different. I'm just saying. It worked very different. Oh, shoot. What are we doing? There we go. This is what I wanted. All right, now. Oh, come on. Oh, what are we doing, man? All right. Here we go. Here we go. Look at that, man. Simple finisher. This is the only match I'm going to do. But I love playing this game, man. It's fun. I know people hated the quick matches. I didn't mind them, because just if you want to pick up and play real quick, and sometimes your matches could go pretty long. It all depends on like, 'cause I usually play on elite difficulty, which I think this is still set to. When you play, certain wrestlers are more difficult than others. Certain wrestlers are way more difficult than others. But um, but yeah, man. Let me see. So I don't lose my train of thought. That's why that's the only match that I'm gonna do. But yeah, editing wrestler could have been better. Um, Being able to have a creation suite like for arenas to be able to like make the arenas at least until they update the new AEW arenas, or just to simply be able to create arenas from other organizations. You can kind of do the Ring of Honor like ring where it had like I think Ring of Honor was the one where it had the red outline and the black mat. Like you could do that type of stuff, but still, man, they just needed a better creation suite. Needed to be able to edit the wrestlers properly, like not just completely change the entire look and change everything. You needed to be able to do individual editing, like wristbands. Maybe one wristband is a different color than the other. Like it needed to be that detailed, and it needed to just have regular colors that you can change it to. Not all of this weird stuff. Like it works for some wrestlers if you edited them a certain way, but it didn't work for everybody. More updates. We needed more wrestlers. We definitely needed more arenas updated into the game. And we needed match types. And a lot of the match types that people wanted were literally in Road to Elite. They just needed to be playable inside of the regular part of the game. Cage match was definitely needed. And last but not least for me, this is me personally, it needed a create a show or create a pay-per-view. Whatever they wanted to call it, it needed a create a show or create a pay-per-view because as I mentioned earlier in this video, not only did it give you an opportunity to create and be, just be creative and create your own match card, right? But it gave you the ability to, you see how I'm back in the menu where I got to go back into exhibition, whether I want to do a 2-on-2 or 3-way match. Give me the ability to have a system where I'm like, okay, the matches are pretty quick in AEW Fight Forever. So I'll set up 5-6 matches. I'll do a tag team match. I'll have a triple threat match in there. I'll have some one-on-one matches. Then I don't have to keep going back to the menu because all I got to do is just keep going to the next match. That's all I got to do is just keep going back to the next match. And then also with some icing on the cake, give me a show intro. And then after the look, and then this is I guess, look, this is the cherry on top. When I'm done with my main event, show stuff at the bottom of the screen as if the show is going off. Show a copyright thing pop up as the wrestler is celebrating in the ring. Bam. That's all I needed. I didn't even need commentary. I didn't even need commentary in this game. Why? Because my favorite games, my 2 favorite wrestling games of all time, did not have commentary in it. So I was able to do just fine. I think a lot of people were without commentating. Now, it would have added a little bit to the game. Yes, I think it would have been cool. Now, I know one of their reasons was because commentary gets repetitive and blah, 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 which, yes, I get that. And some people even talk about how they turn commentary off after a while. But it would have been nice to at least have some generic lines thrown out here and there when you pull off like big moves. Like to have Tony Schiavone and JR just kind of like name the move that's being done, have JR do his oh my God thing and all of that stuff like that. Like that would have helped. But otherwise, even though this game is missing all of those things that I mentioned, I still cannot deny that this game is fun. I can play this longer than I can play a WWE 2K game because it's more for my play style. It is just more for my play style, man. But that's all I got, man. Let me know what you guys feel in the comment section. It's your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.